Good day, Junior Tuckies. I am Mrs. Bredenkamp, and in this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to write a diary and a blog entry. Let's get into it. Firstly, let's ask ourselves the question, what is a diary entry? A diary entry is a section of writing that has been organized by dates. So the entries within your diary will actually organize your thoughts, your feelings, and opinions, and you usually are pouring this out onto a page. They break up your diary into smaller pieces, so you don't have these long entries. Think of them almost like a chapter of a book. Typically in grade 8, a diary entry will have a word count of 150 to 200 words. Now let's look at the structure of a diary entry. I know that writing a piece for your diary is usually something personal and you can do it in whichever way that you like. But when you're writing a diary entry at school, you need to use this format. So you will see over here on the right-hand side, we have the day and the date. Remember to add in the year. Then directly underneath that, you will skip a line and start with Dear Diary, or you may use a different name. Maybe you've named your diary, but let's work with Dear Diary. Then you skip another line. And then you start with your introduction. This is not really compulsory, but you can write about maybe how your day is going. Then you skip another line and you start with your body. What is the issue that's occurred? What are the things that have changed since the last time you wrote in your diary? Then you skip another line and you start with your conclusion. Maybe it's a hope or a dream of something being better tomorrow. Maybe it's your current state of mind or even your current feelings. Then you skip another line and you can end off your diary entry with until next time or until tomorrow, and then you sign off with your own name. This is an example of a diary entry. So you will see on the far right hand side, it is Sunday, 31 March 2020. It starts off with saying, Dear Archibald, the effects of quarantine are starting to set in. I think I may be losing my mind. I stayed up all last night walking through the house, expecting, well, I'm not sure what I was expecting. I also think the cat next door is spying on me. Until tomorrow, Amy. Now let's move on to the blog. A blog post is an individual web page that your website drives on a particular topic or on your blog. So we get a lot of different bloggers these days. You get fashion bloggers, you get mum bloggers, you get sports bloggers, and this is how they express themselves. So a blog post, when you're writing it for school, links back always to that overall blog site. Typically, you will write between 150 to 250 words. Now, why do we use blogs? What are they used for? So it's actually to help a lot of companies rank on search engines. So when you're typing in Google and you're looking for a fashion blog, to have something out there will bring you back to that person's website or even their Instagram page. Then it's also to share information about a given topic or from an expert in the industry. So if you think about someone who perhaps blogs about cars, they have the new specs of cars and they want to share that with the world. Then it's also a way to attract visitors to your site or to attract views on TikTok or on Instagram, and it leads into those people starting to follow you. And then finally, it's also there to cultivate an online community and for people to engage with one another. Now let's look at the basic structure of a blog post. So the first thing that you're going to start off with is your heading. So over here, the heading is keeping busy during the COVID-19 quarantine. Then you're going to start with the opening. So telling us a little bit of what your blog is about. So this one says, it's easy to lose one's mind or resort to violence and irritation during the quarantine. Here's a list of a few things you can do to keep the boredom and family loathe at bay. Then you'll usually have a little picture over there that does relate to your blog post. Underneath that, you're going to have a subheading or a quote from the content that you are providing people. So over here we have a quote, you can only clean your home or your room so many times in a day. Then you start with the contents. Here you can say you can clean the house, you can play with your pets. It is all where the body of your blog post is going to come through. And then finally, you have this thing called a call to action, or a CTA. So you can have a call to action, meaning that you can perhaps want to donate to a certain charity, form part of a certain movement. That's what a call to action is. It's what writers do to get the readers involved and engaging with their blog post too. So with call to action, you could have a hyperlink over there. It could have credit card info if you're going to buy something, or it could even be a link for a subscription. So let's have a look at a proper example on the next slide. So let's have a look at this example. You can see that we've got the heading, we have our opening, and we've got our picture. If you look carefully underneath the picture, we also have that quote from the contents. Then we start with our contents over here. You have the playing with the plates, explaining that, creating order, explaining that. And then over here we have this hyperlink. So for this example, it's used, check out my step-by-step cleaning manual to make any room sparkle and shine. And then you continue with your contents. The do's and the don'ts. The do's for a diary entry. Use the correct register. Remember, you can be informal, but not too informal. Remember your format. Be honest and sincere. This really helps your marker understand the reasoning behind what you've written. And then you can also ask yourself questions. Although it's going to be answered internally in your brain, asking questions helps the reader be engaged. Then, don't write formally. You're not going to say, "Good evening, madam. I hope that you have seen the beautiful sunrise this morning." That is way too formal for a diary entry. Don't forget about your format and your dates. And don't be too informal either. You also cannot start the diary entry as, "Hey dog, I've been doing this weekend, what. But being too informal, being too formal, it's a line that you need to walk over. Then the blog post do's. Remember, the blog post is for entertainment, so you need to make it interesting. Also make it relatable. The more people find a piece of writing relatable, the more chance of it is going viral. Then write in an informal register, almost like to a teacher that you're perhaps close to at work or school. Then include a call to action. Draw in your audience, make them interested. Then don't write in a formal register and don't make it boring. This is for entertainment. People are only going to read it if it is interesting. That's it for this lesson, Junior Tuckies. I hope that you understand how to write a diary entry and a blog entry a little bit better. Goodbye.